And hey everyone, it's Evan Kirstel here with another fabulous guest from my Twitter and Clubhouse audience. Today I have Indiana Gregg, the CEO and founder of Wedo. Indiana, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I've been a little bit emotional. It's the end of the year, so I'm
Yeah,
looking
lots
forward
of
to hearing about
reflecting
your
to
view.
do, lots of
Absolutely.
excitement about next year and dread of more lockdowns. Before we jump in, where are you? Where are you calling in from exactly?
Right now, I'm in Valencia. Spain hasn't been affected quite as much as many of the other countries in Europe, but I'm here and I'm
Well, there are
surviving
worse
it.
places to be than in Valencia, Spain in the winter. This is someone who's in Boston right now. So I am feeling rather
Well,
jealous of
there you
you, but I won't hold that against you. So we met on Clubhouse and Twitter. You're quite a social creature, as am I. What are you up to? Tell us about We Do. I think it's a work in progress, maybe of the last 2 or 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah, this is a long time coming. What we're looking at is the future of work and how people uh, go into their day life and coordinate that with their life. So we've developed an application that allows you to go on to any video or audio call, take a payment in real time, monetize your audience, and bank. And the idea behind it is that we believe that if you have talent, knowledge, skills, or a product, you should be able to turn on that light of your mobile phone or whatever application you're using or hardware you're using and earn your daily bread for that day, for the week, for the year, for, you know, the longevity and have flexibility in lifestyle. We believe that, the 9 to 5 job is a dinosaur now, and we want to be able to facilitate that without creating a barrier for people. And the way we're doing that
Okay, well
is
that's a lot
removing that.
of yeah, that's a lot to digest. But I do resonate with a lot of what you said. I started out as an independent, escaping the corporate rat race about 7 plus years ago. And at that time, there wasn't a platform like we do. There weren't much of any platforms like we do. I sort of built a business initially just on PayPal, where I used it for invoicing and booking and billing and tracking payments and all that good stuff. And that was kind of a pretty novel even at that time. We've come a long way. So you're many things, but so you're a bank, a neo bank, as well as a platform for freelancers and gig workers. Is that the best way to think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you want to think about, if you think about We Do, is actually the ability to take your life into your own hands. So power back to the individual, but in a big kind of framework, uh, being a bank and a social network, and you combine those tools and remove the paywall. Because right now we're living in a place where it, you really have to think about SaaS tools. Like, are you going to pay for Netflix and then pay for iTunes and then pay for this and pay for that? Why do that? Why not relieve that and create a system where people can access on demand in real time at all time wherever they are, and create a new future where we're spending our time within our lifestyle. And I think that may be a really long way of going about explaining this, but then at the same time, it's a new concept. But we're moving into a world where people should be able to live their lives and integrate any way they want to. And we're building a tool. Well, our tool is developed now so people can sign up, but it's more about freedom,
Oh, I
of
love it.
creativity, of
I love it.
expression.
Well, since I started off as a little solo practitioner, I do have a bit of a team now, and I have an accountant and a bookkeeper. But gosh, still getting payments, getting paid, invoicing, booking business is still a pain in the you know what. Why is that? Is it just because banks suck, or what is it about being a solo practitioner that's so hard and difficult, even to this day?
I think one of the major barriers for people is tools and the cost of those tools. You mentioned PayPal, right? One of our directors of the company was the founding CFO of PayPal, and PayPal was revolutionary at the time. But now a lot of people are evading using PayPal due to the cost. And you don't need those costs when you can create, accept, and exchange in real time. So there are a lot of tools and new engineering and new technologies that relieve that pain point. We need to move into places where it costs less, there are less middlemen, and that we all contribute as our own human beings. Like you did this yourself, you pieced that together, and you've been doing it for years, right? And you understand, well, if I piece this with this and this and this, I can create continuity and create an infrastructure for myself. What we're looking at
I,
right now is
I love
that
it.
the people don't uh, maybe have the time, the resources, or the ingenuity like you have had. How come we can't open that up and create, you know, a way for people to produce that makes sense for them in today's world? I just think we're changing, you know?
Well, that's for sure. And but you're much more than a payments or fintech platform. If I look at Wedo, you're getting involved in the, building community. You can create events and integrate audio and video and your social network. So that's new. What is that all about? How does it work?
So I think that people are engaging in ways that we've never experienced before. And social media is kind of a loop-de-loop for a lot of people. And what I mean by that is, like, okay, so say you're on, I don't know, Instagram, right? How do you monetize that or create a way of, moving your community in something that where you're providing value and there's an exchange, so it pays the bills, right? And there's a gap between that. So a lot of people are going on social networks and they're driving their community to some other form of, I don't know, they're driving them to a Zoom call, and then the Zoom call drives them to a PayPal, and the PayPal drives them to a loop-de-loop. Why not just integrate that all together and do it in a way that, either you use a platform because you just want to be social, or you use it for your work, or you use it for whatever, right? Our days are integrated and we're going from app to app to platform. We're integrating this and that and the other. Why not just create a system that works for everyone and they can use it however they want? And then, that sounds like a big idea and an aggregation, and it's taken several years to get there. But at the end of the day, we're humans and we can create systems that make more sense for us. And that's kind of what we're doing. I'm kind of roundabouting because I'm very philosophical right now. It's the end of the year, but
Yeah, I love
that's
it. No,
essentially what
I
we're
like
doing.
the philosophy behind it, and it looks like, I mean, I haven't tried, WeDo, to be clear, but I've seen the video and your website, and it looks like you've created a really nice user experience, something that's actually easy to use. PayPal was never that, sadly, and still, I still use it, love it, but it's marginally better than the banking payment services like Zelle, which are just completely awful. So it looks like you put a
Mm.
lot of care and thought into making it just easy to use for your average creator, your average solopreneur. Is that right?
What we've done is we've kind of reverse engineered all the problems, and we've really focused on the people. So instead of pushing something out there and having users test and try it, rather than like create a situation where someone could come on and mistrust us, what we've done is we've done that from the back end, where we've been testing with now thousands of people to get their feedback and to really create a project that involves community, that is actually social, but also solves a lot of pain points for many people. And when you do that, I mean, obviously we're going to have to release this someday, but there's a situation of trust in a financial product that, the reason why social networks probably haven't done this already or haven't dared to is the trust. And we're in a situation where the world doesn't trust each other. We don't trust the media. We don't trust politics. We don't trust anybody. And so what we want to try to do is come out with something that's robust that anyone should be able to use, and that they realize just by the nature of the product, but no one's trying to take advantage of them either. And so part of our branding and part of what we stand for is equilibrium, equality for people. It's why we have the little triangle monster that we have as our mascot. All sides are equal. Investment, the public, and the companies should work in that equilibrium. And I think it's the only way we'll be able to create real value for people. And especially right now, I feel like we need to give more power back to individuals. And yeah, I think a lot of what we've gone through in the last several years, and certainly with the pandemic, but even prior to that, has been a sense of powerlessness. And I think that if we have more people coming together to create more power to what we can do together, well, we'll create a better society. And we're all about wanting to leave the future better off than what we found it when we got here. If that
That's
makes sense.
great. Love that mission. I'm just looking at one of your tweets where you said that 50% plus of the workforce will be freelance, part of this new gig economy by 2027. A lot of people think of gig workers as, kind of wage slaves, maybe slaves to the platform, but there are also a lot of gig workers like myself who are thriving and doing quite well. And I know many people like myself. Um, so tell me about the future of the gig economy and how we can make it more equitable and an opportunity for more people beyond just delivering pizzas.
I think it's the biggest opportunity that humans have had since we became little sperm and amoebas. We have so much power as human beings in general, the way we can combine our knowledge and our skills together. The gig economy and the future of the way we work is going to make the 9-to-5 job redundant. It's a dinosaur already, and it's going to be in the future. And we need to think about the time we spend on this planet and how we can use our individual powers to really facilitate our sense of purpose. And I think that now is the time, after going through the last 100 years and looking at how work was and how we're evolving, we can spend more time in the places where we love to be and experience the world, but still accomplish great things together. And I feel like technology is here to serve that purpose. And we're migrating toward a better kind of way of seeing society, where there's this emergence between the two philosophies, if you want to go to extremes between the left and the right, or however you want to look at this, where capitalism and socialism kind of converge and become kind of a unified way of, hey, we can actually live our lives from anywhere, at any time, in any place. We don't need a clock to tell us what to do. We can automate so many aspects of our lives. This fear of like jobs are going to be obsolete in the future. If you're an automotive, blah, 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 you need to learn new skills. Yes, you need to learn some new skills. You need to evolve. We all have to, earn our keep. But what we're seeing in society is this kind of great, and Forbes is probably the one who coined this, and forgive me if I'm wrong, this great resignation from work. Because we went through a pandemic where everyone was at home. We all had to fend for ourselves. Governments couldn't solve this problem. Society was, in this kind of big, how do you want to call it, confusion state. How are we going to get through this disease, this virus, this thing, right? And all of us had time to reflect. And I think now we can look at this and say, oh my God, we can do a fuckload, right? If we work together. And not only that, we can do it from wherever we are because we have these amazing system communication that we haven't really used the power of. It was propelling us to, I don't know, do a bunch of selfies, make ourselves big, do whatever we wanted to do, right? But in reality, what it is a system that allows us to have the most flexible lifestyle in the history of the planet and also preserve the planet and share information in such a way that we can solve problems in a big way with each other. And what we need to do now is create those systems that create that propensity to create better lifestyles for people where we're doing less work, but we're providing more value into the world. And I'd love to see that before I die. I'm 50 years old now. So I'm like looking at, okay, next fucking 30 years, I'd like to get there, right? And I think that's where we're headed, you know? And I hope we can facilitate that. And I hope there's more people who get involved with our project and yours, and we can experience that before we die.
That's fantastic. Now you must have some really fun anecdotes of early users and how they've used WeDo and maybe some scenarios. Walk us through like what would a typical use case be like, or what have you seen early users reacting to, when they're
Uh,
using the service?
so some of the first testers that we brought on, and we're not fully live yet, we do this in a closed environment because we're a financial
Sure.
institution, but a few of them have been people who've lived on the streets, who lived rough, who are homeless.
Wow, I didn't
Who,
expect that as your answer.
nobody would. But I think those are the most impressive. I think when we look at our situation in society and we see people who are on the streets, I don't know how often you've gone out to San Francisco or areas that you would expect a great amount of wealth, and you turn up and you're like, wow, what does Skid Row look like now? Like, what does Palo Alto look like now? What does San Francisco look like now? California is kind of like the melting pot of, Silicon Valley has been like the proclamation, for the world in terms of technology, in terms of wealth and growing wealth and growing, of course, the American economy. And you look at that and you go, wow, there's someone on the street. And what you realize is that within the system, most people are only a few paychecks away from being on the streets. And you look at these people and you realize, oh my God, they're in their car. Poor people, like, can I hand you a dollar, right? But in reality, these are people with talent, knowledge, and skills. And they are all keeping one light on. They're keeping their mobile phone on or their internet connection at the moment. And what we really need is for every individual who has a connection or who, ways to create their position in society so they can build their network. And what we've seen is, and these are a few scenarios only, but what we've seen is that people who have that talent, knowledge, and skills, who have lost their resources, they're finding it harder and harder to get back on the ladder in society. One of the best kind of films of this past year, maybe it's not a film, it's a what do you call it, a series that I watched on Netflix. And I don't watch that many series, but it was Made. And when I watched Made, I thought, man,
Amazing
is it
show. Yeah.
really that hard? Have you seen it? Right, Made.
Yes. Yeah.
In I was in tears because a lot of that resonated with me. I was a single mother. It wasn't easy to have 3 children. She only had 1. And her position in society within that economy in California was like, well, you need to wait for a house or a place to live. We don't really care that you have an abusive partner. How do you live that way, right? And what we're trying to do with WeDo is, if you have talent, knowledge, or skills, and you have access to a mobile phone, you should be able to earn your keep that day, that month, that year, that future. That's your ladder. That's how you get back on that ladder. And if we wait for government to solve problems for us, we're not going to get anywhere very fast. We're much more efficient.
I love it. One of my favorites, Gary Vaynerchuk in marketing and business created this Flip It challenge, where basically he encourages kids, teenagers, young adults, without any means, maybe from disadvantaged communities, to just take their phones and go start flipping products, buying at yard sales, getting stuff for free, going into discount stores, flipping those products online, selling them for 2, 5, 10x what they found them for, and generating, hundreds, thousands of dollars for themselves in real money. And that's just one little example. I imagine that would be a great, Wedo scenario for someone getting a foot on the ladder of like e-commerce, or creating their own revenue streams. So much good stuff to chat about. So speaking of, next year, I guess you have a big year ahead. When are you looking at lighting up, customers and getting folks on board?
Well, we have a wait list right now. We have around 6,000 on the wait list, and we're slowly letting them in. We're looking towards mid-March to do the full-blown release. But at the moment, we're looking for brains and people to give us really critical feedback and come in on the application in the private setting. We're fully regulated in the United States and Europe and the UK. And really, we want people like you, Evan. We want people who understand what we're doing and why, and really care about how we can make an impact on society. For us, this is a vision that's for everyone. And if we can make this happen, there'll be more of us. And we don't care. We want as much competition as the market can provide. It's a big world. I think that we're in a knowledge-based society, like what you said, exactly what you said, where, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? That whole vibe that you just explained. If you send that message to enough people, they'll understand. Right now, we're in a disparity situation where so many people have been suffering, and why would we want that to continue? It's not going to work for anybody. It's a big world, but there's a lot of resources, and we need to make things happen for more people. If we can help more people, we'll solve the big problem already, and we can do that together, I think.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for sharing your vision and all your insights, and very exciting. Finally, we've spoken on like Clubhouse and tweeted each other, but nothing beats a face-to-face chat. So congratulations on the success so far and the mission. And yeah, Happy New Year. Just can't believe it's a few days away.
I know, it's crazy. It's the end of the year already. I don't even know what what 2021 was all about, but let's do the future together. Thanks.
All right.
It's great to
Thanks
have
so
you.
much. Likewise.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.